smile. I just wanted to try to talk to you. His eyes softened as he raised his hand to my cheek. This is for the best. You are my kryptonite, and I could never refuse you. I have work already, though. Don't worry. My heart lit up with the news. You do? Is it with a good family? His gaze flicked to the floor, then back to me, seemingly uncomfortable. He nodded. They're very kind people. I'm sure we will see each other on occasion. We can keep it friendly. I had a feeling Ibrahim was hiding something from me, but I had no idea what. Okay, that helps me feel a little better. The entire situation blew up, and I didn't have time to warn you. I'm not even sure how the video got leaked. I leaned into his touch, relieved the conversation was turning out better than I'd anticipated. Ibrahim dropped his hand, and I immediately missed the warmth of his palm. You should go. Take care, Shay. He bent down and pressed a sweet kiss to the corner of my mouth. Suddenly, Ibrahim jerked and spun around. A loud crack filled the air. Then Ibrahim's body lurched and his arms flailed as he struggled to keep his balance. Ibrahim! I scooted to the side of him, trying to see what the hell was happening. A fist landed in Ibrahim's face and he crumbled to the sidewalk, blood gushing from a gash over his eye. His nose bled, and at a glance, I realized it was most likely broken. Ibrahim! Ibrahim grabbed his head, moaning in pain. As I started to kneel to help him, a black boot caught my attention and I slowly looked up. What the fuck? Chapter 9. Fury rolled off me in waves. I was doing my best to lay low, then this motherfucker had to mess up a sincere conversation. Let's go. Cole quickly grabbed my wrist and practically dragged me behind him. Stop it, Cole! Let me go! I dug my heels into the pavement, pulling him backward. I don't have time for this, Shay. Cole growled as he glowered at me. My nostrils flared, and I fast-talked myself out of punching Cole in his nose. Unfortunately, it wouldn't do me any good since he was stronger than I was. You hurt him! What the hell is wrong with you? Cole flashed me a searing look. Now! A thick tension swirled in the air between us. He tugged on me and took off in the opposite direction, pulling me along with him. I looked over my shoulder, realizing a crowd had formed around Ibrahim. Shit. Suddenly, the toe of my shoe caught on a raised crack on the cement, and I tumbled to the unforgiving ground, the pavement ripping open my knees and palms. Shay! Hurried footsteps sounded behind me. Oh my God! Are you okay? Zoe asked while she placed a hand on my back. She must have been looking for me once people started to gather. My long hair covered my face, and embarrassment. Pain-filled tears gathered in my eyes. We have to go, Zoe. She'll call you later. Cole scooped me off the ground and into his muscular arms. It took everything inside me not to hang on to him and hide from watchful eyes. I was beyond horrified, and my knees stung like a son of a bitch. Cole set me down a block away, and I attempted to brush off the few pebbles that were stuck to my palms. Get on. He climbed on his motorcycle, then started it. The engine roared to life right before the police sirens wailed through the air. He handed me a helmet, and I slid it into place, numb and in shock from how my apology had turned into Cole pummeling Ibrahim in public. I wouldn't have ever pegged Cole as a street fighter, but maybe he was. Every cell in my body burned with guilt and a desire to help. What he'd done to Ibrahim was awful and entirely uncalled for. He glanced over his shoulder, his eyes cold and hard. I'm not going to say it again. Let's go. My need to get out of downtown and away from the crowd outweighed my desire to tell him to fuck himself. Not to mention, the cops would be here any second. If I stayed, then I would have to testify against Cole, and Daddy would have another mess to deal with. I didn't care about my stepbrother, but I did care about my father. I carefully lifted my leg over the seat, my knees stinging with every movement. Once I was settled in behind him, I folded my arms in front of my chest. He looked at me before he gripped my wrist and wrapped my arm around his stomach, holding it in place. The bike lurched forward, nearly sending me flying off the smooth leather. It only took me a second to realize that I had to hang on to him if I wanted to live. Giving in out of sheer terror, I grabbed his waist and held on for dear life. Cole swung a quick U-turn, then weaved in and out of traffic until we reached a side road. With a hard right, my pulse kicked into high gear and I tightened my hold on him. It was clear Cole was comfortable on a bike, but I'd never been on one. My legs clamped against his as he picked up speed, avoiding the potholes on the side streets. The realization of the events minutes ago hammered my brain. I'd apologized to Ibrahim, then he'd been beaten to a pulp and left on the sidewalk as Cole pulled me away from the scene. What really pissed me off was that I'd been in the process of making things right with Ibrahim. The thought of Cole's vicious outburst made my stomach tighten and I shuddered, accidentally hitting my helmet against Cole's. He leaned into a curve and I followed his body, pressing against his back. I wasn't sure when, but we'd taken a back road with winding curves and steep hills. For a moment, my thoughts calmed with the wind against my skin. Was this what freedom felt like? Speeding on the open road, embracing the danger, and witnessing the beauty of the trees? A rush of calm enraptured me. All my life, I'd been on display. I had to be good enough, rich enough, beautiful enough. But at this moment, none of that mattered. I was truly free. My anxiety melted away as I fell into a rhythm with Cole, feeling his muscular body against mine and, for a split second, trusting him. Within minutes, Cole pulled into a graveled driveway and slowed, the rocks crunching beneath the tires. The sound reminded my stupid brain about reality once again, and my anger kicked up a gear as I replayed the events that had occurred in downtown Spokane in front of the world. The cops would be sniffing out this bad play like a terrier looking for a cow patty to roll in. Cole hadn't bothered covering his face, so there were plenty of eyewitnesses to the attack. Confusion clouded my mind. Nothing about the situation was acceptable by any means, but I didn't understand what was behind Cole's actions. Julia had asked me to stay away from him, and I'd happily obliged. Maybe she should talk to her son and not me. I wasn't the problem. Cole parked and cut the engine in front of a gorgeous modern rustic home. An abundance of trees surrounded the house, and I released a sigh. This place was peaceful and quiet, with no expectations, yet. My stepbrother climbed off the motorcycle and removed his helmet. He held his hand out, offering to assist me off. I placed my palm in his and sucked in a sharp breath. A spark of electricity traveled up my arm with his touch, igniting the air around us as I hopped off. Removing my helmet, I set it on the seat of his bike. Cole's gaze fell to my knees. Blood had streamed down my shins and dried. Pain shot through my legs as I followed him up the steps and into the house. "Where are we?" I asked softly, not wanting to disturb the monster currently sleeping inside Cole. He met my question with silence as he unlocked the front door and waltzed in. I gasped, soaking in the comfort and safety of the blonde redwood floors and open plan. The cozy stone fireplace begged to be used. The worn-in brown leather couch and chairs complemented the living room that opened to the dining and kitchen area. I noticed the staircase to the left and wondered if the bedrooms were upstairs. The minute I'd stepped into the fortress, I realized I never wanted to leave. Even though I was here with Cole, the home felt safe and inviting. "My place. I inherited the place from my grandpa." He mumbled as he released my hand and dropped his keys on the brown and white granite counter. He ditched his jacket and tossed it onto the kitchen island. "Let's get you cleaned up." My attention darted around, trying to assess the situation as I followed him into the bathroom. It was small, but easily held a shower, single sink, and toilet. "Sit." He lowered the lid, then pointed to the commode. I did as he instructed, overwhelmed by the environment and the shock of how I got here. I need to text Zoe, but she has my phone.
She knows you're safe with me.
Not sure safe is an accurate word. I quipped. Cole ignored my jab as he located a washcloth from the cabinet, wet it, then knelt in front of me. He gently cleaned around the ripped-open skin on my left knee. I sucked in a sharp breath and flinched, trying to keep my leg still. He dabbed at my shin with a cool cloth.
It's worse than I thought.
I peeked at him, not wanting to look at the raw and bloody wounds.
I didn't mean to hurt you.
He said so softly I almost didn't hear him. He glanced up at me, his blue eyes softening. Okay. I was afraid to say anything because I wouldn't shut up long enough to give him an opportunity to provide me with some much-needed answers. Cole remained quiet as he continued to take care of me. He located the hydrogen peroxide and poured a bit over the wound. The bubbles foamed and my leg jerked. I released a groan while I clenched my fingers into tight fists. Son of a bitch, that stings!
I know.
Finally giving into the whirlwind of thoughts in my head, I blew out a sigh. Why, Cole? Why did you beat the shit out of Ibrahim, then haul me off like a little kid in trouble? I don't understand. Cole began working on the opposite leg. He paused and held my gaze. In a heartbeat, his face changed and his stony, unreadable expression slipped into place. First, why did you leak the video? I figured if I was going to make any progress, I needed to dumb it down for him. One topic at a time, like our parents did when we were little.
I didn't.
What? You're lying. You were the only person that had access to the recording. I assumed you had a copy on your phone, then when you saw me at the party, you shared it to make a point. Cole poured peroxide on the second ripped-open knee, and I gripped the sides of the toilet, releasing a scream. Tears welled in my eyes as I glared at him, willing knives to stab him 1,000,000 times. Fuck you! I stood, forcing myself to walk away from him.
You assumed wrong.
I looked over my shoulder. Cole leaned against the bathroom door frame, crossing his arms over his chest. As if he realized he wasn't comfortable, he strolled into the kitchen, and I followed. What do you mean? I grabbed a bar stool at the island and eased onto it, holding my breath from the pain shooting through my shins. If it wasn't you, who was it? Cole opened the fridge and removed 2 Coronas. He popped the lids off, then placed one in front of me. I eyed it grudgingly. Don't suppose you have anything stronger?
I do, but you're going to be on the back of my bike again, which means I need you sober so you don't get crazy and cause me to wreck. Samuel would be pissed at me.
Finally, more than a few words. I wrapped my fingers around the cold bottle, then tilted it up and guzzled it like one of the good old boys. I smirked at him as I set the beer down on the granite with a thud. Who leaked the recording, Cole? And don't give me a bullshit story. I know you were behind it. Cole took a pull from his drink.
It was my fault, but I didn't leak the video. There was a period of time my phone was unlocked and unattended, so I'm not sure who did it.
His tone was calm and cool, and I wanted to crack his hard exterior in half to see if he was actually human. Nothing seemed to bother him, ever. I fucking hated it. As much as I despised his overall attitude, I was secretly relieved that he hadn't released the video. There was a possibility he was lying, but that wasn't Cole. He might be aloof or not answer me, but I'd never caught him in a lie. Keyword being caught. Why did you let me think it was you then? I tapped my nails against the countertop, already growing tired of his games. He gave me a half shrug.
It didn't really matter who you blamed. The damage was done.
I would give him that one. Who did you kill? Was it self-defense and that's why you told Daddy?
That's between your dad and me.
He pushed off the counter and checked the time on his phone. Ugh, you're infuriating. You act like you don't give a shit about anyone except yourself. Cole approached me, grabbed my legs, and pulled me to the edge of my seat. You're not going to get the answers you want, Shay, so stop asking. His attention traveled down my breasts as his tongue darted over his lower lip. Stay away from Ibrahim. My cheeks flushed with his proximity, and a newfound heat coursed through my body. I hated that he had this kind of effect on me, where I lost my mind and wanted him to fuck me until I couldn't walk. I definitely needed therapy. Something was very wrong with me. I'm grown, Cole. You don't get to boss me around. Crossing my arms and blocking his view of my boobs, I glared at him. His finger dug into my hips, shooting pain through me and mingling with the throbbing sensation in my knees. Nothing is what it seems. Do what I tell you. He sneered, a slight wobble to his voice. Cole had never sounded unsure of himself, and my curiosity kicked up a notch. I glanced down at the small space that existed between our bodies. Excitement and fear battled for control within me as I focused on the bulge in his jeans. My gaze traveled to his, and goosebumps peppered my skin. What do you want, Cole? I whispered. Cole fisted a handful of my hair and gave it a harsh tug, causing my chin to tilt up, our eyes locking. You're playing a dangerous game, Shay. I'm not fucking around with you. Stay away from Ibrahim. Or what? Apparently the fact that I'd witnessed him kill a man wasn't enough for me to back down. My hormones had shifted into full throttle. Cole could have bent me over the kitchen counter and fucked me senseless, and I wouldn't have fought him. He pressed himself against my core, and I whimpered. The tip of his nose brushed my neck and traveled up to my ear. I grabbed his bulging biceps in order to steady myself. Do you want to know, Princess? His soft lips moved against my jaw. Oh my God, what was he doing to me? Yeah. Cole released my hair, then picked me up. I instinctively wrapped my legs around his waist, ignoring the fuck you my knees gave me. He carried me to the other side of the house, then kicked a door open. Butterflies broke loose in my belly as I realized it was a bedroom. A king-size bed with a navy comforter hugged the wall. Cole set me down near the pillows that were propped against the headboard. His eyes darkened with need as he stared at me. Just remember that I know how you like it. His voice was low, and I quivered next to him. My nipples pushed painfully against my bra as I willed him to free them. The thought of his tongue on my body, licking and sucking. Oh God. I was going to hell for wanting to fuck my stepbrother. Not even a priest could absolve me for the dirty thoughts I was having. Cole grabbed my wrist and tugged it to the headboard. I sucked in an excited breath as he removed a pair of handcuffs from his nightstand, then secured me to the bed frame. Oh shit, this was hot. His fingertips glided over my arm, then down my side. I stopped breathing as he touched the bare skin of my stomach and lingered at the waist of my shorts. Cole's lips hovered over mine, and my pulse stuttered against my wrist as I willed myself to stay still and let him make the first move. He straightened slowly. That should occupy you for a bit, Princess. With that, he turned on his heel and strolled out of the bedroom, shutting the door behind him. My mouth dropped. It took me a second to comprehend that Cole had played me. I tugged on the handcuff, the metal digging into my wrist. You fucking pussy! Just admit you want me! An angry scream escaped me when he didn't return or answer. Fuck, fuck, fuck! I pulled harder on the cuffs, then frantically searched for a release button like the ones for sex play. Nothing. I leaned over, searching under his pillows for a key. My heart sank as I realized there wasn't one nearby. Hopping off the mattress, I bent down and peered under the bed. Damn it, not even a speck of dust existed beneath it. I stood, my arm hanging in the air from being tied to his headboard. I berated myself for considering the idea he was serious about messing around. Our parents would freak out if they suspected we wanted to fuck each other. Not that we did, but ugh, how could I have been so stupid? The rumble of motorcycles reached my ears, and I fell silent. Spindles of fear snaked through my stomach as the cold, harsh reality dawned on me. My shoulders sagged, and I sank onto the edge of the bed. This whole time, I dared to hope he had a shred of humanity, but he only wanted to turn me over to the MC gang he was involved with. Cole had probably told them I witnessed the murder, and they were here to shut me up permanently. A sob escaped me, and I slapped a hand over my mouth. How in the hell I'd ended up here was beyond me. I was so excited about summer vacation and being home for a few months. Now, here I was, about to be turned over to an MC to what? Rape me? Hold me for ransom? Kill me? The sunlight filtered into the dark room as the sun shifted to my side of the house. I mentally told Daddy how sorry I was for getting myself into this mess. Also, I was sorry that he hadn't listened to my warning. Cole was, in fact, a monster without a conscience. I curled into a ball the best I could and gave in to the hot tears that streamed down my cheeks. My life would never look the same. I would be used and abused or tossed into the river, never to be seen again, all because I'd witnessed a murder. My cries finally settled down, and I curled up on Cole's pillow. Deep, low voices traveled through the house, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Heavy footfalls sounded down the hall, and I froze. Fear seized me as I waited to see if they were coming for me. Chapter 10. The door creaked open, and a head poked through.
Shay, right?
A tall, lean guy with sandy blonde hair and a well-kept beard stepped into the room. I stared at him, trying to remember if I'd seen him the other night when they'd all beaten a person to death. Maybe, but it had been dark. Plus, I'd been more focused on the fact that Cole was with them.
I see Cole's been messing with you.
He grinned, then strolled over to me. As hard as I tried not to, my body betrayed me and I started to tremble. The guy reached into his front jeans pocket, then produced a key. He inserted it into the tiny hole. Then, with a quick turn, the cuffs clicked, and I was set free. I pulled away and rubbed the sensitive skin on my wrist. "Thank you," I whispered. He stepped back before he folded his arms over his chest, his black vest bunching beneath him. "Nice vest," I said quietly, appreciating the leather for a moment. The only hope of getting out of here, with him guarding me, was to try to connect with him as a human being. A huge grin split his face.
It's called a cut, and thanks. I'm King. I'm Prez of the MC.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know it had a particular name. President. That would explain why his presence was overwhelming. There was no doubt in my mind that this was a powerful man in front of me. He was probably a force to be reckoned with, like Daddy. They just didn't dress or act the same. Drumming up a bit of courage, I forced my chin up. "What do you want?"
We need to chat, but come with me and meet the guys.
His hazel eyes landed on me, then he motioned for me to follow. Once he left, I rose on shaky legs, steeling myself for what was about to happen. Daddy had always taught me to overcome my fears, but this was worse than I had anticipated. I trudged down the hall and into the living area, my palms sweating with every step. My eyes widened as I swept the room. At least 5 men, all wearing jeans and black leather cuts with a flaming skull on the back, stood around, laughing and drinking beer. Cole chuckled, then his heated gaze fell on me. He nodded, indicating for me to join him. If I was in a room filled with devils, he was my safest choice no matter what. I slipped through the group and joined my stepbrother.
She's pissed at you, man. Handcuffing her to the bed was a low.
A short, burly guy said.
I'm Snake. It's good to meet you at last.
He held his beer up to me and nodded. My forehead creased in confusion. Then it dawned on me that Cole had told them that he'd cuffed me to the headboard. How else would King have known where to find me?
This is Hawk, Taco, Riggs, Brute, and Snake already introduced himself.
The room filled with the sound of the guys greeting me. I tentatively raised a hand. Apparently, MC members were friendly to their prey before they pounced. I peered up at Cole, unsure why I was here. He cleared his throat.
I had to detain you for a bit. You left me no choice.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I placed my fist on my hip, feeling overly confident.
Means we had some business to discuss, and we couldn't take any chances of you eavesdropping,
King said, taking a swig of his beer. I rubbed my face, not following what was happening. The fact that these men acted as if they were here regularly was concerning. Plus, they were being nice to me when I'd seen them firsthand kill a man in cold blood. They weren't good people. Neither was Cole. Yet here I was, fighting the urge to mind my socialite manners, offer them dinner, and ask if they'd had a nice day. The absurdity of the situation nearly made me laugh.
Cole said you saw us having a business meeting the other night.
King shifted from one booted foot to the other. A couple of the guys snickered, then grew silent when King shot them a dirty look. Yeah, I didn't realize it was business, or I would have left. I tapped my temple. I had too much to drink and got lost. Fuzzy brain. I actually don't remember anything.
King chuckled. Cole says otherwise, and I'll tell you now, pretty lady, I'll take his word over yours all day long.
Damn it. It was worth a try. Maybe honesty would keep me alive longer. Okay, fine. I saw a group of you. The motorcycles provided good light for me to see, but I had no idea what was going on until it was almost over. When some of you moved out of the way, all I saw was a guy dropping dead on the ground. I didn't see anyone else do anything. I pointed at them and shook my head just in case they misunderstood what I was trying to say.
That's what he said.
King stroked his well-trimmed beard as I uneasily leaned against the back of the couch. I'm going to take a wild guess that you're here to silence me so I don't rat him out. My tone was ruder than what I meant. Fucking nerves. I rubbed my arms, pretending I'd caught a sudden chill. Cole chuckled, and my head snapped up. You sick fuck! You actually think this is funny.
You were right, Cole. She's definitely feisty,
Snake said, grinning. Great. Now I'm here to entertain everyone. Exasperated, I tossed my hands in the air. Fuck my life!
Get this girl something to drink before she worries herself to death, for God's sake,
Taco said. Within seconds, someone gave me some whiskey. I tipped that bad boy up and drained the clear shot glass. Shit. I shuddered, holding it out for a refill. If I was going down, I would get as numb as I could so I wouldn't understand what was happening. I finished the second drink and held it out again.
Enough,
Cole said, snatching the glass from my hand.
I need you sober, Shay. There are some things you have to know.
The alcohol tickled my senses, lulling me into a fake sense of calm. I already know that you're a fucking douche. You choke me, blast my sex video out to the world, talk to me like shit, and handcuff me to your bed without even an orgasm. The muscle in Cole's jaw ticked, then he burst out laughing. The rest of the room followed suit. My cheeks burned from my overreactive, chatty moment.
Fuck, Shay. I didn't realize you were such a lightweight, or I wouldn't have given you a refill,
Snake said. I folded my arms, my lip curling into a sneer. Thanks to Cole, I haven't eaten anything today. He also found it necessary to throw me down on the ground and bust my knees open. I pointed at the swollen, raw flesh.
Fucking Ibrahim.
Cole rubbed the back of his neck, fury rolling off him in waves. His mouth curled, and I was suddenly distracted by how badly I wanted to punch him in the nose. Irritated, I glared at my stepbrother. Can someone tell me what the hell his problem with Ibrahim is? He won't. Will any of you? The men stared at me as if I spoke a different language. I mean, seriously, Ibrahim is a good guy and didn't deserve Cole's temper. He's been Daddy's limo driver for the last 5.5 years. He has a family in Nigeria that he sends money to. My eyes landed on Cole, irritation crawling over my skin. Not to mention, Ibrahim was a really good fuck. Cole twitched with my words, then he clenched and unclenched his fingers before he rubbed his jaw. Pure, delightful gratification swelled in my chest as I watched Cole's temper flare.
Damn, Snake said, shaking his head. You're a little spitfire.
The men laughed, then a heavy silence blanketed the room, and I glanced at each of them, attempting to understand what they knew that I didn't. Their silence was thick with secrets. I tossed my hands up, frustrated as hell that no one would explain what Cole's problem was with Ibrahim. Okay, well, guess Cole is just up to his typical shit then.
Why don't you sit down, Shay?
King said, patting the back of the couch.
I need to talk to you about someone else.
For some reason, I already respected King. Plus, it was probably my best interest to do as he suggested. I had a bad feeling about what he wanted to discuss. I sank into the soft leather, wishing it would suck me in and I could simply disappear.
What do you know about Greg Hampton, Sybil's father?
King asked. Why in the hell were they asking about Greg, Sybil's dad? He and Daddy have known each other for years. When Daddy started his company, he asked Greg to be his business partner, but he didn't take the offer. He seemed like a good guy. Other than that, I don't know him well. He was very good to us when Mom died, though. Grief punched me in the stomach. If Mom were here, I would curl up next to her while she smoothed my hair and rubbed my back. My throat tightened with the memories and longing for her. Shoving the ball of emotions aside, I focused on the matter at hand. Why do you care about him? I wasn't sure what game they were playing, but I was over it. I don't understand what this is all about. Other than being an eyewitness to your business meeting, I have no clue why I'm here. My shoe tapped against the floor, indicating I was growing impatient when I was actually super nervous. Unfortunately, when my nerves were frayed, I talked too damn much. King stood next to me, while Cole stood between two of the bikers near the fireplace. His gaze burned through me, and I squirmed in my seat. Then I noticed the guy named Taco next to my stepbrother for the first time. Holy hell, he was hot. He had sandy blonde hair and hazel eyes. He was taller than Cole, with broad shoulders, and his jeans hung low on his hips and conformed to his toned thighs.
We're trying to narrow down possibilities and looking into anyone who knows your family, including your father's friends. It's precautionary until we have more information. Hopefully, you can help us. The man at our business meeting. Someone is after Cole and they sent a rookie to try to do the deed.
King said, rocking on the heel of his black combat boots.
The son of a bitch tried to hurt your man.
I cringed with King's reference to my man. Cole definitely was a lot of things, but not that. However, the fact that someone tried to hurt him caught my attention. Who is after Cole? King tugged on the silver chain that hung from his jeans pocket.
Not sure yet, but we're keeping an eye on anyone around him, including you.
I stared at my stepbrother, my eyes narrowing with disdain. So, Cole gets into some trouble and that justifies you taking a man's life? My brain spun out in multiple directions as I muddled through what this meant. Bile swam up to my throat. If Cole was in danger, then so was I. My father had always warned me about the company I kept. Little did he know, he'd allowed the devil to stroll right into our home a few years ago. I focused on Cole, attempting to read him, but as usual, failing. Seconds later, it felt like a nuclear bomb detonated in my head as the truth crashed down on me. That's why cameras were in the limo. You're keeping tabs on me. I said, my tone accusatory. Cole nodded.
I gave King my key, then he had someone install them for me.
Fury stomped all over the fear, winning out as I hopped up from my seat and marched over to Cole. You mean to tell me that I got caught in your mess and I'm paying for it? I jabbed him in the chest with my teal-colored nail. I'm sure you fucked someone over, but it cost me. I could have lost everything. Cole closed the small gap between us, his eyes flashing with anger.
Let's not twist the facts, Princess. You shouldn't have been screwing the staff. What went down is on you, not me.
I reached up to slap him, but before I made contact, he grabbed my wrist. He leaned down, his lips against my ear.
You're playing a dangerous game, princess. Don't even fucking think about hitting me again because you won't like the way I deal with you.
I sucked in a sharp breath, my skin burning from his hold. I should have been disgusted the more I learned about Cole, but I wasn't. There was a flame deep inside me that I couldn't extinguish. Even though I fought against it, an attraction was blooming to life, growing without my permission.
Maybe you like dangerous. Maybe you're tired of sitting on your throne being a pious bitch.
He released me and stepped back, his attention falling to my hard nipples that pushed through the thin fabrics of my bra and top. Fuck you. My heart pounded and my throat felt thick as I glowered at him. The nagging voice in my head told me I'd just woken a beast inside Cole that I wasn't sure I could tame. Chuckles filled the air, and I shot the guys a scathing look.
Let's get back to business,
King said, silencing the room.
Cole received a death threat, Shay. The man you saw that night was involved. We were protecting one of our own.
My eyes widened. Cole is in your MC? King pulled on the collar of his shirt.
No, he's never prospected or patched in, even though he could if he wanted. Everyone here would be cool with him joining because we've talked about it.
Patched in? I asked, unclear of the term.
It's when a guy pledges for up to a year. Then the club votes to see if we want him or not.
King explained. I nodded, eyeing Cole, completely baffled that he'd led a double life. So the dead guy, did he try to hurt Cole or kill him? I wasn't sure I wanted to hear the answer. Maybe remaining naive would be the best way to handle the situation.
It's a long story, Shay. What happens in the club stays in the club, but here's what I can tell you. The cameras in the limo weren't there to watch you. Your dad has meetings, clients, and staff in the car. It was a good place to learn who might be involved. It's clear that they know Cole pretty well. Other than college, his family was the easiest to start with. It's a process of elimination at this point.
But an innocent man lost his job. Ibrahim didn't deserve to be caught up in Cole's mess either. My stomach dropped to my toes at the thought of Ibrahim losing his income and reputation.
I don't know Ibrahim personally, Shay. All I can say is that you two were in the wrong car for your afternoon romp.
The corner of King's mouth twitched, and I suspected he was trying to hide his smile. Shit, did Cole show you all the video? I glared at Cole. If he had, he'd be a nut short after I was finished with him. King threw his head back and laughed.
I tried to talk him into sharing it, but it was a no-go.
Snake said, smiling. His perfectly straight white smile made him appear friendly. From the rumors I'd heard about motorcycle gangs and what I'd seen, I highly doubted he was a good guy.
We all knew it went viral, but none of us saw it, Shay. It was taken down before we had access to it.
Taco explained as he shoved his fingers through his blonde hair.
Girl, you need to wake up and see what's in front of you. No way in hell would Cole have allowed someone to see you in a compromising situation, even if they wanted to.
He gave his men a pointed look. Cole loudly cleared his throat, then muttered,
None of you fuckers will ever see it.
Holy shit. Cole had just protected me. Confused, I wasn't even sure what to do with what I'd heard. King rose from his seat, grinning like crazy. He placed a gentle hand on my shoulder.
Back to the business meeting. Even if you went to the cops with what you saw, no one would believe a word of it. You were drinking and it was dark.
I wasn't going to go to the police. Even though I can't stand Cole, I didn't want him to go to prison. I just don't want him to be a controlling asshole. Besides, he would look horrible in orange. Chuckles filled the room. Now that you know I'm not going to rat him out, are you done with me? Can I go home? My pulse raced while I waited for King's response.
That's not fucking happening. There's other shit going on, which means you're stuck with us.
King released me, compassion in his expression. Frowning, I placed my palm against my chest. I don't understand. King cracked his knuckles as though we were headed into a fight.
Cole's already talked to your pop. He knows what's going on.
I huffed. Just because Cole pissed someone off and now they're threatening him doesn't mean my life has to come to a screeching halt.
Yesterday, Cole received an anonymous message.
Taco chimed in. A heavy hush fell over the room, and I glanced at Cole. For the first time ever, I saw sincere fear flicker in his gaze. Cole? I asked softly. What is it? Chapter 11.
They threatened to hurt you and our family, Shay.
Cole explained. His mask of indifference faltered for a moment before it slipped back into place. The room tilted on its side as his words sank in. Within a few days, I'd gone from being a spoiled, wealthy girl tucked away in a sheltered world to living in a reality full of lies and danger. My attention swept the group, searching for a smile or someone attempting to hide their chuckle, but everyone remained solemn. I tossed my hands up in front of me. Okay, the joke can stop now. I am absolutely nothing to anyone except my daddy.
That's not true.
King shot Cole a look, then he focused on me again.
Cole needs to talk to you about everything else, so I'm gonna shut my mouth now. Just know you'll be seeing a lot more of us.
My father and Julia are in danger? I whispered as tears clouded my vision, and I mentally begged them to tell me all of this was a sick joke. If they were hurt, or worse, because of Cole, I would make it my life's mission to bury him alive. Warm fingers wrapped around my biceps, and I peered up into Cole's eyes. Regret and sorrow flashed in his face. My stomach twisted into knots.
Samuel wants to hire a bodyguard. He'll take care of them. I'll take care of you, and so will the MC.
A cry escaped me, and I smacked a hand over my mouth, attempting to regain control over my emotions. Finally, I turned to King. Can you protect my family? My voice trembled with my question. I had no problem breaking the law if it meant the people I loved most were safe.
Yeah, but we gotta know who we're dealing with. We have a few leads, but nothing solid yet. All of Cole's associates are under suspicion.
I squared my shoulders. If I was asking an MC for help, I needed to show them I was capable of keeping my shit together. If you keep Daddy and Julia safe, then you have my loyalty. I'll never mention the business meeting again, nor will I ever tell anyone if you choose to use unsavory methods to protect my dad and stepmom. King peered past me, then nodded.
Consider it done.
I wasn't sure why King had agreed so quickly, but I suspected it had to do with Cole and the gang being close. It was finally dawning on me that I was in danger and safe at the same time because of the man that stood next to me, my stepbrother. I think I need some air. I wrapped my arms around my waist, trying to hold myself together as this new information crashed down on me. A heavy weight settled on my chest as I opened the front door and hurried down the sidewalk to the gravel driveway. Heavy footsteps reached my ears. Glancing behind me, I spotted Taco approaching his motorcycle. I wondered if he might provide some helpful insight. Are you leaving? Taco mounted his ride and pulled his helmet on.
Yeah, I gotta be somewhere. It was good to meet you, finally.
I chewed on my bottom lip. Cole talks about me? Taco coughed into his hand, attempting to hide his smile.
He's mentioned your name every once in a while.
I nodded and stepped closer. I like your bike, I said, tracing my fingertips along the blue and white flames that traveled over the side of the fuel tank. Maybe you can take me for a ride sometime? I glanced at him, assessing his body language, but I couldn't get a read on what he was thinking.
As much as I would love to have you on the back of my bike, I can't. You're Cole. Shay!
Cole's tone was clipped as he quickly walked through the front door to me. He grabbed my hand, scowling.
Get inside.
I didn't miss the dirty look he shot Taco. Taco tipped his chin up.
It's all good, man. Later.
With that, he started his motorcycle, the rumble echoing through the property. Why do you have to ruin everything? I attempted to jerk away from Cole, but he tightened his grip. Cole, learning about our family being threatened, it was a lot to take in. I just wanted a ride to take my mind off things for a while. My chin trembled against my will. I couldn't fall apart in front of him. Cole towered above me, then gently tucked a strand of hair behind my ear.
I know. I'm sorry you got pulled into this mess.
Completely taken off guard by his moment of humanity, I reminded myself that the monster inside him would return in seconds, and not to get my hopes up that we could meet on common ground. Please don't let anything happen to Daddy and Julia. A lump clogged my throat at the thought of losing them. I'd already lost Mom. I couldn't lose them too. Cole tilted my chin up, our eyes connecting.
I'll do everything in my power to protect Mom and Samuel.
Silence filled the space between us. So, these guys. I nodded at the house. Are they into some deep shit? Illegal stuff? Cole massaged the back of his neck.
Yeah. The Blue Angels are a 1% club. They're good men, though.
I gave him a questioning look. I have no idea what a 1% club is.
They're outlaw bikers. They're a brotherhood who don't care about the same rules as everyone else. They live by their own laws. They're loyal as hell to the members.
Cole squared his shoulders.
I trust them with my life, and that's all you need to know.
How did you get involved with them, Cole? You have a good home, people who love you, and money. I don't understand. Cole stared behind me with a faraway look in his eyes.
Don't worry about it.
I bowed my head, my shoulders trembling with anger. After a moment, I looked at him again. If my life is really in danger, I at least deserve some answers, damn it. Cole focused on the ground and kicked at the gravel with the toe of his boot, now covered in dust from the ride here. I released a wary sigh. Cole was wearing my patience down. Fine. Don't tell me. When can I go home? I want to speak to Zoe. I didn't miss the disapproving look on Cole's face. I won't tell her about the threats. But if the MC is going to be around, then she will meet them eventually. She's my best friend. I can't hide this from her. Plus, I need someone to talk to. This shit got intense really fast. Cole hesitated before he answered.
Honestly, I don't want us to go home. I have no idea if it's safe or not. But we have to pretend that life is normal right now, or we risk tipping off whoever is trying to hurt me.
From the outside, I probably appeared calm and collected, but I was struggling not to fall apart on the inside. That doesn't make me feel better, but it makes sense. Cole led me back into the house. I half expected the guys to be staring at us, but they'd replenished their beers and had settled in at the table playing a game of poker. I couldn't help but giggle as they talked shit to each other. Unfortunately, it would be the last time I laughed for a while. A dull ache pounded in my head. I was ready for another drink and some food. I had no idea how long I would be here, but I figured I might as well make the best of it. Grabbing a beer, I sat down with the guys and watched them play. Even though I was physically present, my thoughts were elsewhere. My attention landed on Cole, who had joined us. He laughed at the jabs and bullshit the men said to each other, appearing perfectly at ease with men who broke the law. There was no doubt that Cole was an asshole, but maybe he would actually prove that he would protect the people who were important to him. My pulse jumped. If I was here, it meant he actually did care about me. There was that, at least. I just wished I could ignore the pull to him. It was as if every nugget of information revealed his sinister side. It was calling to me, lulling me into a false sense of security with him. Over the rest of the afternoon, I witnessed a different side of my stepbrother, one that I thought I could get accustomed to. Dark, dangerous, and with more layers than I ever imagined possible. The more I processed what I'd learned about Cole, the more I wanted to dance in the dark with him. After the MC left, Cole and I cleaned the house. The guys had been good about tossing their beer bottles in the recycling bin and throwing their trash in the trash can, but that many people in a small house made a mess. Cole wiped down the countertops while he pointed me to the vacuum for the hardwood floors. He hadn't asked me to, but I also scrubbed the bathroom. It had been a hot minute since I'd scrubbed a toilet, since Daddy had a housekeeper, but I managed. Oddly enough, as we took care of the house together, our silence felt comfortable, like we had shared a space all the time. With a racing heart, I almost admitted I refused to finish the thought. It had been a long-ass week, and I suspected PMS was playing havoc with my emotions. Maybe a different type of birth control pill was in order. Maybe.
Thanks for the help,
Cole said, running his hand through his blonde hair. I hung the cordless Dyson vacuum on the charger, then made my way to the kitchen. Sure. I appreciate you and the guys looking after Julia and Daddy. Helping around here is the least I can do. I looked at my knees. The skin had grown tighter over the last few hours, and I figured the ride home on Cole's motorcycle would be uncomfortable, but I would live. Cole's lips thinned, and the muscles on either side of his jaw pulsed.
Whether we like each other or not, we're family, Shay. I will always protect family, unless they don't deserve it.
Pain etched itself into Cole's forehead, and he looked away quickly. Since Cole was trying to keep me safe, I assumed that in his opinion, I deserved the help. That revelation should have been what I focused on, but it wasn't. Who hadn't earned Cole's loyalty? I wondered if it was part of what Julia had mentioned before. Cole spoke and interrupted my thoughts.
Let's head out. There's a chance of rain, and I'd rather not take you home drenched. Samuel might not appreciate it.
Since when do you care about what Daddy thinks? Cole's dark gaze swept over me, then landed on my eyes. We stared at each other, completely transfixed as unanswered questions and tension crackled in the air between us. Finally, Cole spoke.
Samuel is a good man, Shay.
He tore his attention away and looked out the window.
The storm clouds are rolling in. We should go.
Silently, he followed behind me, locked the front door, and walked to his bike. He handed me a helmet. I slipped into place, then waited for him to hop on. She's a beautiful motorcycle. I pointed to the blue and white flames on the side of the fuel tank, then leaned closer when I realized a woman's face was woven into the fire. A crease dented the smooth skin in between my eyebrows. Surely I wasn't seeing this correctly. Maybe the alcohol was still messing with me, and I hadn't noticed it. Cole, what's her name? I ran my fingertips over the artwork, warmth spreading through my chest. Cole started the engine, the rumble cutting off my question. I climbed on, and this time I wrapped my arms around his waist and pressed myself into his back. He eased down the driveway, the gravel crunching beneath the tires. Sadness tugged at my heartstrings. For whatever reason, I already loved Cole's house. He was different here, and if I were truthful, most of the man I'd seen today I could like, but I wasn't ready to be honest because the other part of me didn't trust him. Now it seemed as though I no longer had a choice. Confused and tired, I pushed the thoughts out of my mind and enjoyed the ride. At least for a few minutes, I could feel free. It was just Cole and me against the world, and I no longer felt quite so lonely. Funny how everything changed so quickly. Chapter 12. Fat drops of rain fell from the gray sky as Cole pulled into the driveway of our house. The downpour lasted long enough to drench us before we made it inside, then stopped as quickly as it had started. Once Cole had parked his motorcycle in the garage, we climbed off. I smiled at the puddle that was accumulating at my feet. I glanced up at him. His tongue wet his bottom lip as he became transfixed on my shirt and stomach. The thin fabric was soaked through, revealing my hard nipples and flat tummy. Cole had seen me in a bikini a ton of times, but that was before he'd witnessed me fucking Ibrahim and Matt on the video, so he was now familiar with what was beneath my clothes. But the look in his eyes was different. Instead of neutral, it was possessive and hungry. My cheeks flushed, and a newfound heat coursed through my body. I cleared my throat, breaking the spell between us. I need to shower and change. Cole tore his gaze away. Do whatever you want. I'm not your keeper. He placed his helmet on the bike seat, then stomped off. Great. Asshole Cole is back. I traipsed after him through the garage, but before I could follow him through the door, the bastard slammed it in my face. I gritted my teeth, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing me pissed off. It was clear that Hyde was home, leaving Jekyll outside. Grumbling under my breath, I let myself into the house. Hopefully, I wouldn't run into Daddy or Julia until I was cleaned up and had bandaged my knees. I wasn't up for any questions. Besides, Cole would probably fill Daddy in on the day's events. He seemed to have his nose up my father's ass. Attempting to smooth my ruffled feathers, I finally realized my phone was with Zoe. I would have to use the landline to see if she could drop it off. With no sign of anyone, I hurried to my bedroom and closed the door, ignoring Cole's presence across the hall. I shucked the wet clothes and tossed them into the sink in my bathroom, then took a hot shower. The rain and ride home had chilled me to the bone, but I'd been so focused on Cole, I hadn't realized it until the water soothed my skin and burned my wounds. An hour later, I had fresh bandages on my knee. I dressed in soft black yoga pants and a clean purple tank top. I made my way downstairs and to the kitchen. There wasn't a real need for a landline other than Daddy's business calls, but I was grateful for it. I located the phone on the counter and called my best friend.
Girl, I've been waiting for you to call. What the fuck happened?
Zoe gushed without even saying hello. I stared out the window. I would have texted you, but I left my cell in your car. Any chance you want to bring it over and hang?
I'm already getting my shoes on. See you in 15.
Before I could say goodbye, Zoe hung up. I decided to wait for her under the covered entrance. Maybe it would help me clear my head for a few minutes. Sneaking outside undetected, I closed the door and sat on the bench. A chill skated down my spine, and I rubbed my arms. The smell of the fresh, early summer rain soothed my nerves and brought back memories of Mom and me watching thunderstorms from our covered deck when I was a little girl. A distant rumble of thunder told me the weather would clear any minute. Seconds later, the sun peeked through the remainder of the clouds and began to dry the wet pavement, causing small billows of steam. Lost in my thoughts, I almost didn't realize Zoe had driven up the driveway. I rose from my seat and met her at the car. She climbed out, eyeing me as she waved her hand over the door handle and locked the convertible. "Hey," I said, squinting at her through the bright sunshine.
Bet you felt naked without this.
She held my phone up, then gave it to me.
And this.
She gently shook a brown paper bag. Oh shit, I forgot all about it. Thanks. I took the items from her. As soon as I had the doorknob installed, I wouldn't be so paranoid about recording devices in my room.
You're welcome. Also, you have a text from Cole.
Zoe removed her sunglasses and pressed her lips into a thin line.
No, I didn't read it. Well, I did when it flashed on your screen.
What did he want? I asked, pocketing my cell instead of looking at the message. I didn't want to appear too eager in front of Zoe. Plus, he'd pissed me off the moment we'd arrived home. Needless to say, I wasn't too keen on seeing what he wanted.
Something about keeping your mouth shut when you saw me.
Zoe slipped her arm through mine.
What's up, Shay? You seem different, and the shit that went down with Cole today, I swear I won't say a word, and no judgment, ever, but it's clear the dynamic between the two of you has changed.
We reached the entrance, and I paused. We can talk quietly in my room, but I want to search for recording devices first.
Fuck, I forgot about that. You need that doorknob on, yesterday.
Zoe dropped her hold on me and frowned, making the lines in her forehead prominent. Zoe, stop frowning or you'll get wrinkles early. Ever since the limo fiasco, I've checked for cameras and it's getting old. Maybe it would be better to leave until I have time to change the lock. No one even knows I'm home other than Cole. Julia thinks I've been with you all day. I flipped over my cell and opened the back of the case, checking for my ID and what cash I still had.
Let's get out of here. We can grab some dinner and go to the river. I'll put the top down and we can absorb some vitamin D through the golden orb in the sky.
She laughed, then worry flashed across Zoe's expression as she squeezed my shoulder.
Remember, I'm here for you.
Thanks. I hugged her, then we hopped into her car and left. There were very few times I'd seen Zoe's face pale, but with the update about the MC, the fact that someone was threatening Cole, and then me, she'd turned ghostly white.
Shay, this is serious shit.
She nibbled on the end of her French fry and stared at me.
I don't even know where to begin. First, Cole is sending you hella mixed signals. Dude needs to knock it off. I mean, what's his deal with Ibrahim?
I gave her a half shrug and took a bite of my hamburger. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until the smell of the yummy carbs tickled my nose. My mouth had started to water before we even parked at a quiet spot near the river. At least we could talk openly without being concerned someone might overhear us. Cole had told me not to discuss the danger or the MC club, but I wasn't about to listen to him. Maybe it was a stupid decision on my part, but I couldn't manage all of the chaos on my own. I'm guessing that something happened between him and Ibrahim, but I don't have a fucking clue what. Maybe he felt like Ibrahim was taking advantage of me since I was younger. I'm pretty sure it was the other way around, but it doesn't matter anymore. Zoe removed a napkin from the brown paper bag.
And I thought for sure Cole released the video too. So he simply forgot his phone and someone picked it up and saw it, huh?
I nodded. My guess is that it's one of his friends, Remington or one of the other guys. They would totally pull shit like that, but I'm thinking they'll pay dearly if Cole finds out who did it. Maybe he never will. Zoe's nose scrunched up in distaste.
He should. I want to know who did you dirty like that, Shay.
I plucked off a piece of the hamburger bun and nibbled on it. Honestly, I'm not even sure it's even worth it. Daddy had the recording removed, so hopefully that's the end of it. Besides, I have other shit to worry about.
Yeah, and the end of your social life as long as Cole is around. Not only are you stuck with him this summer, but I doubt he's going to leave you alone at college again this year. He certainly has a habit of making sure you don't date anyone.
Zoe's big brown eyes cut to me.
Babe.
She reached over and smoothed my hair.
It's time you consider another idea.
What's that? I grabbed the Dr. Pepper that I'd bought with my dinner and took a sip.
I think your stepbrother is into you.
Zoe's tone was gentle, as if she were consoling a small child. Spewing the soda from my mouth, I immediately broke into a coughing fit.
Oh shit! I'm sorry!
Zoe picked up the remaining napkins and began soaking up the drink that had landed on the leather seat. Once I regained the ability to breathe correctly, I faced her dumbfounded. You're wrong. Was she? Zoe raised her hands in surrender.
I'm just saying that you shouldn't dismiss the idea is all. Cole has literally cock-blocked you since your dad and Julia got married and he strolled into your life. He's rude as fuck to you, humiliates you, and is practically obsessed with who you're with and talk to.
She tilted her head, studying my reaction. I pursed my lips. No. No, and hell no. There's no way. Did you hear what he said to me at Harrison's party? Then he tossed me over his shoulder and carried me out of the house not half an hour before he murdered someone, Zoe. Beat a man to death. Zoe folded her arms across her chest and gave me a pointed look.
And he told you why. He was protecting you and the parents.
Wide-eyed, I slapped my palm against my forehead. Oh yeah, how could I forget? That makes everything okay. And legal. Sarcasm dripped from my words.
I mean, to have a hot-as-hell badass protect you? Yummy. I'm not sure about you, but a guy being a fuckwad to everyone except the girl he loves? We all want that. It's why we love the bad boys. Think about it, though. Damon from The Vampire Diaries, Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl, and that serial killer, Dexter.
I blew out a sigh. I get it, but that's not the real world. Zoe arched a brow.
Yet you spent all day with him and the motorcycle dudes. And I want to meet Taco. If he's as gorgeous as you describe him to be, that's probably why Cole barged out of the house and jerked you away. You know, before Taco licked your snatch.
Zoe burst into giggles. She nudged my arm.
Get it? You're supposed to eat a taco, not the other way around.
A snort escaped her, and she laughed harder, holding her sides. Dismayed, I shook my head. What am I gonna do with you? A grin almost broke free, but I was emotionally too tied up in knots at the moment. Several of the bikers were hot, but that doesn't mean I need to drag you into that world with me. You're my best friend, Zoe. I get the impression they're loyal as fuck to the people they love and care about, but other than that, life is a different game to them.
Does Cole know that you were going to talk to me about the MC?
Zoe turned in the seat and propped her elbow on the armrest. I told him I needed to talk to someone about the situation, and he seemed like he was fine with it at first. But then his text said otherwise. I rolled my eyes. In my mind, I've nicknamed him Jekyll and Hyde. I never know which one I'm going to get, the man or the monster.
I have an idea about that.
Zoe wiggled her brows at me.
I think he's confused about his feelings for you. You're his stepsister and off limits or some bogus bullshit like that.
Well, he's not wrong. I groaned. Can you imagine the look on Daddy and Julia's faces if we got together? I barked out a maniacal laugh. I could kiss away any chance of Daddy reinstating my funds. Fucking the stepbro wouldn't be a show of my maturity in his opinion. Excitement flickered in Zoe's expression.
I bet Cole is so damn good in bed.
She sucked on her bottom lip and moaned.
If you sleep with him, I want all the deets. Every single inch of the details.
She squealed and grabbed my arm.
Oh my god, this is going to be epic.
I pried her fingers from my biceps. Aren't you forgetting that you're speculating, and in reality, Cole isn't interested in boning his sister? Zoe pretended to barf.
Step-sister.
You, Danny, Sybil, and Isabel are the only people to see us as step-siblings. Didn't you hear all the lewd remarks at Harrison's party? Humiliation burned through my body as I recalled Cole's words, implying that he'd fucked me. When he gave everyone the impression that we were sleeping together, why would he have done that?
Ugh, Shay, I'm trying to tell you. He wants you. You might be taboo to him, but he let every guy there know you were off limits and that he was in your pants. Wake up, babe.
Butterflies flip-flopped in my belly. And let me be clear, if you're right, do you think that's why he's so mean to me? Zoe tapped her chin with her finger, a sign that she was pondering my question.
Honestly?
Always. I inhaled the fresh air in an attempt to slow my racing pulse.
This is only my opinion based on the 4 years he's been in your life, okay?
Out with it, Zoe. I rubbed my sweaty palms along my yoga pants, unclear why the conversation was stressing me out. Just because Zoe shared her thoughts didn't mean she was right.
There's no two ways about it. Cole is an asshole, but...
She lifted her hand to stop me from interrupting her.
I think he's battling some demons that we have no idea about. Not that it justifies him treating you like he does, but I do think there's more to it. I think he's conflicted about his feelings, and on top of it, someone is threatening him and now you.
Zoe's attention darted around us.
Shit, I forgot about that part, and here we are out in the middle of nowhere.
I glanced around nervously. Shit. The realization hadn't crossed my mind either. All I was interested in was a safe place to talk. Shuddering, I realized I might have put us in danger without meaning to. Let's go to my house. We can sweep the room for recording or listening devices. Zoe looked a bit perplexed as she barked out a sarcastic laugh.
Do you realize we sound bona fide crazy and paranoid?
Yeah, but Cole hid cameras in the limo, so this girl isn't taking any more chances. I patted my chest.
I don't blame you.
Zoe pushed the button and the car engine purred to life. I rode the rest of the way home in silence, weighing Zoe's words with Cole's actions. The idea of Cole sent my pulse racing, but hell if I knew when it had started. He'd always been hot, but he was my stepbrother, possessive, overprotective, and moody. Maybe Zoe was right, and maybe, just maybe, I had to admit that I had feelings for my stepbrother. Shit. I'm going to hell. The real question, though, was Cole going with me? Chapter 13. Zoe and I had conducted a thorough sweep in my room, closet, and bathroom for cameras, but didn't find anything. It made me wonder if Cole had told me the truth and the recording in the limo hadn't ever been about me. After more speculation and talking about how much life had changed in the last week, Zoe left a little after midnight. Worn out from sharing all the secrets and speculating about who might want to hurt Cole and my family, I was ready to get some sleep. I grabbed my phone, opened Spotify, and turned on a new playlist I'd made before the vacation began. I'd been so busy that I hadn't had time to listen to it. Devil by 2 Feet began to play, and I sent it to my Alexa show. The speaker on the device was pretty sweet, and the sound easily reached me when I was taking a shower or bath. The thump of the bass filled my ears, and I walked into my bathroom where I shed my clothes, tossing them into the hamper. After I brushed my teeth, washed my face, and moisturized again, all I wanted was to find some pajamas and crawl into bed. Nothing holy played as I strolled into my room. My mouth gaped in horror, then a scream tore from my throat. "What the fuck, Cole? You terrified me." I covered my breasts, realizing I was standing in front of him with only my light green G-string on. "Don't you knock?" Cole leaned against the door frame, watching my every move. "Don't you lock your door?" He smirked, his eyes not leaving mine, even though I was practically naked. "I thought I did." I tapped my bare foot impatiently, raking my attention over him in a derogatory manner. "What do you want?" Cole remained silent, his calculating gaze raking up and down my body. "Fine, get out. Don't come in my room again." Out of spite, and if I was honest, a little curiosity, I dropped my arms. Cole focused on my tits, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down as he swallowed. I strolled over to him, stopping a few feet away. "Is this what you wanted? To see me practically naked?" My voice sounded confident and strong, but inside, I was shaking. I refused to cower to him, though. If he wanted me, then he had the opportunity to do something about it instead of hiding behind a facade. Cole pushed off the wall and moved toward me. "What are you doing, Shay?" He growled as he drew closer, and I stepped backward. The back of my knees hit the edge of my mattress, and I fell on the bed. I scrambled to the top. A flutter of nerves and excitement filled my stomach. Cole wedged one of his legs between mine and parted them while he hovered over me. He pinned me with a heated stare. "Do you think about me, Shay? Do you think about my cock buried deep inside you, making you moan?" I gulped, unwilling to answer. He played me before, and I wasn't sure where this was going. A shiver danced up my spine as I released a soft breath, and Zoe's words whispered through my mind. If Cole was into me, then I was about to find out. He lowered a little more, my breasts only inches from pressing against his chest. A shadow of conflict coasted over his face. I swallowed over the dryness in my throat, willing him to touch me. "Tell me, Shay." I nearly melted into a puddle the way my name rolled off his tongue. Sexy and haunting all at the same time. Chills peppered my skin, and my pussy clenched, begging for him to bury himself inside me. "Which vibrator do you use when you imagine me fucking you? I've thought about tasting your pussy, licking and sucking your clit while you're sitting on my face.
The thought of your head back and eyes closed while I slide my tongue into you makes me almost come by itself. My name would roll off those pretty, pouty lips of yours, then I'd shove my dick in your mouth until you fucking choked on it. Tears would stream down your cheeks as I cut off your air, but that's not where I want to come, baby. No. I want to slam my cock into you until your pussy clenches around me. I bet if I touched your cunt right now, you would be drenched. Oh my God. Cole didn't need to touch me. All he had to do was talk to me in that deep, sultry voice, and I could have repeated orgasms. He rolled to his side, and my breath stuttered in my chest as his fingers moved down my belly and eased into my G-string. He didn't waste any time as he spread me apart and shoved a finger into me. I whimpered as he stroked the fire burning deep inside me. He removed his finger, then pressed it against my lips. Suck. Blindly obeying, I licked and sucked my juices off him. Crazy in Love, Beyoncé's remix, filtered through the speakers, adding to the already sexually charged mood. Cole's touch lightly grazed over my neck, then to my breast. He rolled my hard nipple between his fingertips, then pinched it. I yelped. I want to come all over your tits. Would you let me, Shay? Yeah. My voice crackled, betraying how much I craved him. His head dipped lower until his mouth latched onto my sensitive bud. Losing any self-control, I arched into his touch as his hand cupped my other tit. I wanted to grab his hair, but I was afraid if I touched him, he would stop, and I desperately needed him to continue. His fingers wrapped around my throat, but he didn't squeeze. Cole pressed his lips against my ear, his breathing calm and in control. You should run from me, Shay. I'm not good for you. I'm a monster. I've already put you in danger, but I can't walk away. I'm obsessed with you. You're my poison, but I would gladly drink every last drop you had to offer. Good God, Zoe was right. Cole has feelings for me. Cole? I whispered. Please. I closed my eyes, realizing this was all a bad idea and that I was mostly naked on the bed with my stepbrother, and all I wanted was to fuck him until I couldn't walk. I need you inside me. My heart rate was erratic and my palms were damp with sweat. I'd never needed anyone so much in my life. Make no mistake, Shay. When I come inside you, in that moment, I will mark you as mine. Are you ready for me to own you? Cole tightened his hold on my neck. Instead of being afraid of him, I craved him as I inhaled the narrow stream of air he allowed me to have. Suddenly, he released me and ripped my G-string off. He moved down and pushed my legs wider apart. His hand smacked my pussy and a cry escaped me. I don't think you understand what it will be like if you're mine. He slapped me again. Pain shot through me, but I wanted more. I wanted him. His breath grazed my soaked core, and a shudder of pleasure rippled over me. Cole slipped his arms under my ass and pulled me to his mouth. Bunching the comforter in my hands, I moaned as he sucked my clit, his tongue licking my slit before he pumped me with 2 fingers. My back arched and I shook with anticipation, humming with need. His ice blue eyes glanced up, locking with mine. Cole! My chest heaved as desire licked every inch of my sensitive skin. My muscles tightened. He released a harsh growl, grabbed the backs of my thighs, and dug his nails into my flesh as a soul-obliterating orgasm pulsed through my body, and I touched the edge of heaven. Reveling in his touch, I savored every blissful second until I came down from my high. Oh my God! I peeled my eyelids open when I felt the mattress shift beneath me. Cole's gaze darkened, and the snarl sent chills skating down my spine. He looked like the devil, a dark, murderous expression on his face, and terror
pumped through my veins. Without a word, Cole threw the door open and stalked out of the room, slamming it closed behind him. Shame reared its ugly head, and I swallowed the rejection like it was cheap alcohol, bitter and stinging all the way down. Holy shit, what did I just do? The bright morning sunlight woke me the following day. I stretched and peered at the clock on my phone. It was nearly 10. I blinked a few times, reveling in the fact that I didn't have a class to attend for several weeks. Then reality slapped me. Cole. I still wasn't sure how we'd ended up on my bed last night, but after he'd given me the best orgasm of my life, he left like a whirling dervish. The memory of his face tied my stomach into a million knots. I tossed my blankets off and sat on the edge of my mattress. I needed coffee, and a lot of it. I had to sort through what we'd done before I saw Cole. Collecting a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, I brushed the tangles out of my hair, then collected my phone from the nightstand. I cautiously peered into the hall. To my relief, Cole's door was closed. I tiptoed down the hallway, then to the kitchen. Daddy and Julia were sitting at the little table in the breakfast nook. Morning. I waved and smiled at them. For the first time this summer, Daddy wore some navy shorts with a white polo that fit his well-defined shoulders and chest. Daddy was in great shape for his late 40s. Good morning, princess. Daddy stood and hugged me. He had no idea how much I needed his comforting embrace. He kissed me on the cheek. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought I wasn't in any trouble with him at all, but my Black American Express card would say otherwise. At least it wasn't super tense between us. Maybe he would be able to forgive me soon. The pool will be ready this afternoon, Julia said, then tucked a dark strand of hair behind her ear as I made my way to the espresso machine. It's going to be 85 today. She offered me a genuine smile. I was convinced that Julia never ate or drank anything that would stain her teeth, but I knew better. My guess was that she paid a lot of money for those pearly whites. Sounds like a good day to work on your tan. I grabbed a ceramic mug and placed it under the spout, then turned the machine on. Disappointment flickered in her eyes. I was thinking maybe we could get some sun together and catch up. I realize you've only been home for a week, but summer will be over before you know it, and you'll be off to school. My coffee finished brewing, and I sipped the hot liquid. True, Cole will be gone again too. It probably gets lonely without us here at times. Julia's forehead creased. What is it? My attention bounced from her to Daddy and back to Julia. You don't know? Julia asked cautiously. No, what? My fingers tightened around the cup as I anticipated bad news. A wistful expression twisted Julia's features. Cole left. He won't be back, Shay. I don't understand. He lives here. I massaged my temple, my defenses quickly building bricks around my aching heart. Shay, Cole packed last night. After he spent some time with Samuel and me early this morning, he moved out. I physically flinched as though she'd struck me. The hurt of Cole's abandonment had carved out a hollow hole inside my chest. I could no longer fight the battles of emotions that ripped through me, shredding me into scraps of nothing. I thought things were changing between us after yesterday. My nostrils flared, angry at myself for being vulnerable. He'd used me, then stomped away without a word like a child throwing a temper tantrum. Zoe was wrong. I meant nothing to him. Last night proved that. He'd also broken his promise to keep Daddy and Julia safe. I slammed my cup down in fury, coffee spilling over the edge. I knew where he lived. He might have left without saying goodbye, but no way in hell would I put up with his moodiness any longer. Mentally, I punched his face until he was black and blue. I swallowed the lump of betrayal and lifted my chin. At least I don't have to share the upstairs with him anymore. I'm sure you'll see him at school, Shay. It was a difficult decision for him. Daddy added. He didn't make it lightly. I stared at the floor as tears pricked my eyes. Why did he leave? Finally, I looked up at them. He didn't say.
but he did mention that you're up to date on the circumstances. Honestly, I suspect the threats have something to do with it.
Daddy rose from his seat and approached the espresso machine.
Regardless of what you think, Cole cares about you, Shay. He always has.
Confusion clouded my mind. Daddy had no idea what he was talking about. He and Julia had no clue what had happened behind closed doors just hours ago. He does, Julia said, joining me. She took my hand in hers. Cole isn't good with his feelings, but I know my son. He's worried and scared. He's in new territory and needs space to make some big decisions. I clenched my molars, fighting the swell of emotions threatening to overtake me. What does any of that have to do with me?
Everything.
Daddy wrapped his arm around my shoulders and pulled me to him. You're talking in code, Daddy.
I'm trying not to betray Cole's confidence, but you're my daughter, and your happiness means the world to me.
I burst into tears, hiding my face in his chest and wrapping my arms around his waist. I'm so sorry I messed up. I'm sorry I hurt people. I thought I'd lost you for good. If anything or anyone had the ability to break me, it was Daddy. He was my entire world.
Princess.
He kissed the top of my head before he continued.
Just because I was disappointed with your choices doesn't mean I don't love you and want the best for you. Part of parenting is hoping I've done well enough that you want to make good decisions and are able to consider the repercussions.
We've all made mistakes, Shay. Just because the consequences are in place doesn't mean we think any less of you. Samuel and I were actually impressed when you talked to him about it. You were honest and showed concern for Samuel and the business, Julia said. When my crying slowed, Julia handed me a tissue from the box near the refrigerator. I released Daddy and wiped the moisture from my face. Thanks for telling me about Cole. I just wish he would have told me himself. I suspect he'll be in touch, honey. Try to give him some time, Julia encouraged. Frowning, I looked at her. From the way both of you are talking, you know something. I looked up at Daddy. About Cole and me. I gulped while my stomach churned, realizing I was taking a risk. We saw Cole change around you this last year, Shay. Samuel and I have talked about it. I've tried to ask Cole what's going on, but he refuses to admit anything. However, we have eyes in our head and we're not stupid. We know that Cole has feelings for you. What? My cheeks burned with the revelation. Cole had admitted as much last night, but the words coming from Julia were an entirely different game. Cole also knows that if he acts on those feelings, then he needs to be honest with you about what he's lived through. Julia explained. Tension snaked between my shoulder blades, and I massaged my neck. I was well aware that we all had a past, but maybe Cole's had crippled him in some way. At least that's what I was taking away from Julia's comment. Daddy, do you know what she's talking about? He rubbed his jaw, concern flickering in his gaze.
Yeah. Cole and I have had some long talks.
About me? I squeaked, embarrassed. Daddy glanced at Julia, then back to me. Apparently, everyone in the family knew what the hell was going on, except me.
You, his background, and the threats. He's a smart kid, and he has some valuable people in his life. I trust he will make the right decisions.
I snorted. Those valuable people are a criminal biker gang, Daddy. Julia grinned. Do you know how Cole got involved with them? No. I've only met King, Snake, Taco, and a few others yesterday. Compassion filled Julia's expression. Cole should have told you, Shay. I rubbed at my chest where my heart hurled itself against my ribs. The palpitations were full of fear and adrenaline. I had a bad feeling that there was no happy ending to this story. How did he get mixed up with the bikers? My voice cracked, betraying my vulnerability. Julia stared at the floor for a moment, then at me. The seconds ticked by as I waited for her to answer. Chapter 14. Shay, King is my brother, Julia said. I gaped at her, then slammed my jaw shut. Holy shit, are you kidding me? I slapped my palm over my mouth. Although Daddy and Julia knew I swore like a sailor, I tried to watch my language around them out of respect. Daddy gently placed a warm palm against my back.
Why don't we sit down? I'll bring your coffee over, Princess.
I nodded, my brain scrambling to understand how Julia and Cole had ended up in our home with MC ties. Daddy obviously knew, which meant Julia had been honest with him. It was a good thing, because she would have had to deal with me if she'd hurt Daddy. Julia and I sat at the table, then Daddy joined us with our drinks. The MC has been in our lives for a while, Julia explained. I had the opportunity to join that way of life, but it wasn't for me. Daddy grabbed Julia's hand and squeezed it.
I'm glad she didn't.
He gave her a sweet smile, and for the first time, I pulled my head out of my ass and realized how perfect they were for each other. It had been difficult to see Daddy move on from Mom. I'd spent hours crying in my bedroom, angry with him for forgetting her. I couldn't see around my grief, and somewhere along the line, I'd made a promise that although I would tolerate Julia, I would never allow her to get close to me. Hell, I'd screwed myself over and had chosen agonizing loneliness when I could have had an amazing woman on my side. I had to change that and realize how lucky I was that Daddy had married a kind and caring person instead of a money whore and complete bitch. How long has King been with the MC? Suddenly, I was eager to learn everything I could about Julia and Cole, even King. Since he was 19. For a while, I refused to have anything to do with him. I understood these men weren't law-abiding citizens. But King and I lost our parents so early, so the bikers filled a void in him. They're very loyal to each other. Most of the time, their bond is stronger than a biological family. Daddy took a sip of his coffee before he spoke.
They also do some good. I certainly don't agree with their methods of making money, but King has treated Julia and Cole very well.
Cole was really comfortable around them, I said. More comfortable than I've ever seen him. When Cole was 13, King showed up and took him under his wing. Julia offered me a sad smile. Daddy rubbed her back as she spoke, but I wasn't listening to what she'd said. I was paying attention to what she hadn't said. Something awful had happened to her and Cole. Although I mentally pleaded with her to say more, I didn't expect her to share. Even under the circumstances, I understood that it was Cole's story to tell. A phone buzzed, tugging my focus away from the situation. I glanced around and realized my cell was on the counter near the espresso machine. I rose from my seat. Sorry, I need to check the message.
It's fine. I think we've shared as much as we can anyway.
Daddy pursed his lips. He only did that if he was super stressed about something. I love you, Daddy. I kissed his forehead, then smiled at Julia. Thank you for sharing what you were comfortable with. It means a lot to me. I hope it helped, Shay, Julia said. Curiosity pulled me over to my phone. I tapped the screen, hoping to see Cole's name. Even if he was rude, it would be better than complete silence, especially after last night. My eyes popped open wide as I stared at a text from Ibrahim.
I need to see you.
Replying quickly, I typed out my response. I don't think it's a good idea, but are you okay? Are you in the hospital? His reply was almost immediate.
The doctor needs to operate on my eye. I need money. If you don't help, I'll report Cole to the cops. I told them it happened so fast I didn't see who beat me.
As pissed as I was at Cole, I didn't want him to get arrested. I assumed there were plenty of people who'd witnessed what happened, but no one had talked to Cole about it yet. I had to fix this. It was my fault Ibrahim had been fired in the first place. It was only fair to help him with the bill. I peeked over my shoulder at Daddy and Julia, but they were talking quietly. They didn't need to know I was going to help Ibrahim. A frown creased my forehead as my fingers flew across the keyboard. When and where?
Meet me where I used to park the limo on our afternoons.
I shoved my cell into the back pocket of my shorts, then turned to Daddy and Julia. Do you two care if I go to Zoe's for a while? Daddy cleared his throat and glanced at his watch.
Go straight there, Shay. If anyone looks suspicious, you call me immediately. I was going to ask that you stay here until our new bodyguard arrives today, but it's only Zoe's house. I think you'll be fine.
Normally, I wouldn't ask when I needed to be back, but I suspected Daddy would want me to meet the new security. I wondered if I had to take them everywhere I went. Ugh, that would suck. What time will they be here?
Around 6. You don't have to be here when he arrives. I can introduce you after you're home. But seriously, Shay, don't go anywhere else other than Zoe's.
Daddy lifted his brow and his tone was stern. He was serious. Shit. Daddy would kill me if he knew I was going to talk to Ibrahim, then go to Zoe's. I would text her on my way to meet Ibrahim so she could cover for me. I would fill her in when I arrived at her house. I had to make sure Ibrahim was all right and Cole hadn't caused permanent damage. Anger pulsed through me as I recalled Ibrahim, balled up on the sidewalk, covered in blood. Cole had taken it too far. Thanks. I'll see you guys later. I gave them a little wave before I hightailed it to my bedroom. Pausing before I entered, I spun around on my heel and walked across the hall to Cole's room. I placed my hand on the doorknob and turned it, then swung the door open. The hard truth smacked me in the face. I understood that Julia said he'd moved out, but seeing the bare space made it real. He'd removed the books off the shelves, the television, and his dresser drawers were open, revealing that they were empty. Cole preferred his door closed, but I refused to shut it. Regardless of what Julia and Daddy had shared with me today, Cole had left without saying goodbye. He'd made his decision about me already. My chest tightened, and I placed my palm against it, the fragile beat of my heart reminding me that even though his actions had hurt me, I would move on. I hoped. Backing out of his room, I focused on Ibrahim. Maybe this was a chance to make things right with him once and for all. I'd caused him nothing but pain and trouble. After I texted Zoe that I was meeting Ibrahim, then I would meet her at her place, I grabbed my purse off the floor next to my bed. Dropping my phone into the front pocket, I double-checked that I had my emergency cash and driver's license before heading out. Our meeting spot was only 5 minutes away from my house. That in itself had been a stupid choice, but Ibrahim had to be available at a moment's notice for Julia or Daddy. If I was honest about it, we also liked the danger of getting caught. I barked out a laugh as I pulled out of the driveway. I'd been so dumb. All I needed was to make things right, then sneaking off would be over. I parked behind a black limo that I didn't recognize, picked up my handbag, and climbed out of my BMW. The bright summer sun warmed my skin as I approached the car. I assumed it belonged to the new family Ibrahim was working for. Ibrahim waited for me, then motioned for me to climb into the back. I slid in, set my bag next to me, then he joined me and closed the door. I glanced around, noting the privacy glass was raised and the space was spotless. The scent of the leather cleaner tickled my nose, and I ran my fingers along the soft seat. A cry escaped me as I noted Ibrahim's black and purple eye and busted lower lip. For once, he wore jeans and a blue polo shirt instead of his typical suit and tie. He flashed me a wary smile.
It's not as bad as it looks.
Ibrahim, I am so sorry. I moved to the seat next to him. I had no idea Cole was even around.
I know you didn't. I was more concerned about you.
His dark eyes softened as they landed on me.
When he forced you to go with him, I was worried you were in danger.
No, Cole was just being Cole. I sighed and placed my hand on top of his. I'm glad you didn't have to stay in the hospital, and I'll pay for the surgery, but leave Cole out of this. I feel horrible about everything.
I gave you my word that if you took care of the cost, I would keep my mouth shut. Honestly, I needed to see you were all right. I don't trust Cole, Shay.
He's more bark than bite. I fiddled with the hem of my t-shirt, knowing full well I was lying my ass off. Cole was capable of so much, and I had a feeling I had only experienced the tip of the iceberg. The sound of the doors locking caught my attention. Shit. Ibrahim was hoping we would play around, but I didn't want to. Not only could I not let Daddy down, but this time I didn't want to let myself down either. Ibrahim, I don't think sleeping together is a good idea anymore. This should be goodbye. I can't risk you getting hurt again. The limo lurched forward and began to move. An unsettling feeling curled into a tight ball in my stomach as I tried to understand what was happening. Ibrahim? Who is driving?
A friend.
His low chuckle filled the car as he reached behind him, revealing a pistol. I scrambled backward, dazed and confused. What are you doing? He grabbed my arm, jerking me to him.
Be still.
Ibrahim trained the gun on me, his finger on the trigger. I wasn't sure if the safety was on or off. Trembling, I did as he asked, and before I realized it, his heavy hand slapped my face, hard.
You stupid little bitch.
He sneered as he hit me again, knocking me senseless as I collapsed in the seat.
Not once did you ever realize what was going on around you. All you cared about was what you wanted. When you got caught, then I was important to you, but only then.
Ibrahim, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. He jerked on my shorts and I scrambled to fight him. Ibrahim, stop! I cried. No, get off me! I slapped and kicked him, trying to resist, but he was too strong. The click of the gun stilled me. Ibrahim placed the pistol against my temple.
Scream or cry for help, and I won't hesitate to pull the trigger. Are we clear?
Laughing, he pinned me against the seat and tugged my G-string down. With his free hand, he freed his dick, then wedged his body between my legs and slammed into me. He grunted as he fucked me, but the gun never moved away from my temple. Please stop, Ibrahim. You're better than raping someone.
What did I tell you?
He said, jabbing the weapon into my chin.
Not a sound.
Tears of distress slid down my cheeks as he thrust into me, then pulled out and repositioned himself. A scream tore from my throat as he shoved his cock into my ass. Unbearable pain ripped through me as he continued. Black dots danced before my vision, and a part of me hoped I would pass out.
Have you ever been fucked with the barrel of a gun, princess?
I whimpered, afraid of what he was implying. The weapon left my forehead, then he sat up, an evil grin easing across his face. The cold metal pushed against my entrance, and I trembled so hard I thought I would throw up as he assaulted me with the pistol. Horror twisted my insides as I realized he had his finger on the trigger. Too terrified to move, I slammed my eyes closed and silently pleaded with him to stop and the pain to end.
I don't want you to ever forget me, Shay. After all, I was your first fuck, your first teacher, and now your worst nightmare.
Once he was finished using me, he raised the butt of the gun and smacked me on the side of my head. Stars appeared all around me, then I slipped away into darkness. Sharp pains shot through my body. My ass and core hurt almost as bad as my throbbing skull. I peeled my eyelids open and blinked several times against the bright light. Trying to move my arms, I finally understood that they were tied behind my back. My heart jackhammered against my chest as I realized I was gagged and in a chair.
Did you have a nice nap?
Ibrahim asked. He took a drink from his bottled water, then crossed an ankle over one knee, not betraying a single hint of emotion. I glared at him as I tried to take in the details of the room. Dark and musty. The dirty cement floor was cracked, and I wondered if we were in a basement somewhere. Oh God, Daddy thought I was with Zoe. He wouldn't know anything was wrong until I didn't show up at home later. Shit, how could I have been so fucking stupid?
I'll give you a minute to recover your senses. Then I'll give you a drink. I'm supposed to keep you alive for a while longer.
His gaze narrowed on me.
You fucked with the wrong people, Shay. I almost felt bad for you, for a second.
He raised his hand, holding his thumb and first finger apart by a centimeter.
Almost.
Ibrahim shifted on his seat and blew out a sigh.
While we're waiting for my friends.
He grabbed his crotch and laughed.
For such a rich, spoiled bitch, your ass and pussy sure are good. I'll give you that.
I shook my head, terrified he was about to rape me again. Struggling against the gag, I grimaced.
I guess I could let you talk for a bit. I'm assuming you have a few questions. I'll answer them. I have nothing to lose anymore. You already took care of that.
Ibrahim stood, then crossed the room and jerked the gag from my mouth.
Drink.
He placed the plastic bottle against my lips and tipped it up. Water ran down my neck, but I managed to swallow a little as well. Thank you. My voice was scratchy and my throat was raw from the tears and screams in the limo. Ibrahim sat down again, set the bottle on the floor, and stared at me with cold, emotionless eyes. Why are you doing this?
At first, it wasn't about you, Shay. Then, after the video went live, I lost everything, and it became personal.
I don't understand. You said you were working for a good family and that you were okay. I tugged against the restraints around my wrists, but they were so tight I didn't have any wiggle room.
Don't be stupid, Shay. I wasn't even close to all right. No one would speak to me, much less hire me. Even though you're almost 19, I had still fucked a 16-year-old girl. What makes you think any parent in their sane mind would want me around their children?
He paused briefly, then continued.
Fortunately for me, about 3 months ago, a man approached me and offered me cash to spy on your family and report anything and everything to him. He handed me a very thick envelope filled with hundreds. I've worked for him ever since.
Ibrahim shrugged nonchalantly.
Who was I to refuse that kind of offer? After a few weeks, I met with him again, and he shared a little more, then a little more, until I had a good understanding of what he was after. Your stepbrother pissed someone off pretty fucking bad. It wasn't planned this way at first, but you ended up bait to get Cole.
Cole doesn't give a shit about me, Ibrahim. He doesn't even know I left the house today. I locked eyes with him, imploring. He moved out last night. He didn't even bother saying goodbye. I had no fucking clue until this morning when his mom told me. So whoever you're working for is wrong. Cole couldn't care less about me. Ibrahim bolted upright in his seat.
You're lying in hopes I'll let you go.
I'm not. From the corner of my eye, I caught sight of my purse on the floor behind his chair. My only chance was to overpower Ibrahim and grab my phone or... Holy crap. Zoe, Danny, Sybil, Isabel, and I had loaded the Life 360 app on our phones so we could track each other's whereabouts if there were ever an emergency. It would only be a matter of time before someone found me. As soon as the thought had formed, dread replaced it. The only way they would find me is if there were any internet. From the looks of it, I was in the basement of an old house. I doubted I had a signal. My hope dwindled into almost nothing. If I wanted to live, I had to figure out a plan, and fast. If Cole was gone and Ibrahim's boss couldn't get to him, then they wouldn't have any use for me. I was disposable. A thin ray of light peeked through the crack around the door that led outside. It was apparently still daylight outside. Somehow, I had to figure out how to get the fuck out of here in one piece. I only had seconds to hurt Ibrahim before he shot me. Tilting my head to the side, I stretched my neck, releasing a kink in my muscles. I needed a clear mind in order to think this through. It would only take one mistake before I died. Ibrahim paced the room with his hands behind his back, clearly stressed. Cole had really fucked up this time, and even though I didn't know who Ibrahim's boss was, if I could get out of here, I could at least turn Ibrahim in. I stretched my legs in front of me, finally realizing they weren't tied to the chair like my wrists were. I flexed and pointed my toes, hoping to encourage more blood flow. Ibrahim turned to me.
I'll wait for my boss to decide, but I think your luck just ran out today, Shay.
He smirked, then approached me and began to undo his pants. Bile churned in my gut, then swam up to my throat. Ibrahim pulled his dick out and laughed.
One more for old time's sake, shall we?
A loud crack sounded, and I jumped as the door flung open. Oh shit! My time was officially up. I was about to die. I mentally sent my love to Daddy, Julia, and my friends, but Cole could rot in hell. My pulse pounded in my ears as I held my breath and waited for Ibrahim's boss to stroll into the room. Chapter 15. I flinched and screamed as flashes of light and loud pops echoed through the room. The next several seconds played out in slow motion. Ibrahim jumped away from me, but before he could dive for his gun on the floor, he flew through the air, his head exploding. Blood and brain matter splattered all over me, and I shrieked on repeat until my stomach revolted. Vomit shot out of my mouth, landing noisily at my feet. Muffled voices filled the area, and I looked up, trying to understand the events that had just changed my life. Bleary-eyed, I struggled to hear what everyone was saying. The shots had been so loud my ears were ringing. Strong hands cupped my face while another set tugged on the ropes that bound me to the chair. Masculine arms scooped me out of the seat and carried me to the door bridal style. Several men stared at me as we passed them. My head lolled to the side and my arm hung down, swinging with every step the person took. The noise blocking my hearing began to settle down, and familiar voices started to break through the fog in my brain. I was placed on the bed of a truck, the black liner warming the back of my legs. Glancing around, I focused on the abundance of trees, then on an old beat-up house. From what I could tell, I was in the middle of nowhere.
Shay! God damn it, what did he do to you?
A mixture of confusion and relief flooded me as my vision blurred in and out, pinpointing the man in front of me. Cole? I wasn't sure I'd spoken his name, nor was I convinced that I wasn't hallucinating. At this point, anything was possible.
Shay.
Cole gently squeezed my shoulders, helping me focus on his blue eyes and blonde hair.
Baby, talk to me.
I'd never seen Cole Parker scared about anything in the 4 years I'd known him. But at this moment, fear twisted his handsome features as he looked at me, his chest heaving.
She might not be able to hear you very well, man.
King gripped Cole's shoulder.
The shots were loud in there.
Cole glanced up at his uncle, refusing to let me go.
Let's get her home.
Daddy, I finally managed to whisper.
Baby, can you understand me? It's Cole.
I nodded, placing my hand on his. You came back. Tears of gratitude slipped down my cheeks. I'd never been happier in my life to see him.
I shouldn't have ever fucking left you. Let's get out of here. After I help you clean up, I'll call Samuel. He doesn't know that Ibrahim kidnapped you.
Cole lifted me off the truck bed and carried me to the front seat. He gently set me down and buckled me in. When he started to shut the door, my arm shot out, visibly trembling. Don't leave me. My chin wobbled. Cole rubbed the back of his neck, perplexed.
I'm not going anywhere. I just need to drive, Shay.
Words failed me as I shook my head, my body shaking so hard I was worried I would be sick again.
Hey, it's okay.
Cole unbuckled my seatbelt and helped me out of the vehicle.
Take a few deep breaths. I'm right here. I'll have one of the guys drive so I can hold you. Would that be better?
He smoothed my hair.
Shay, Ibrahim is dead. I had a wide open shot and I took that fucker out. He can't ever hurt you again.
I stared at him, the brain splatter still on my skin and clothes. Cole also had remnants of Ibrahim on his shirt and arms from carrying me. Apparently, blood and brains didn't bother him much. Maybe that should upset me, but I couldn't have cared less. If it weren't for Cole, I would most likely be the dead one. Realizing that I needed to tell Cole some important information, I swallowed, my throat raw from screaming. He has a boss. Ibrahim was hired to spy on our family and eventually get to you. I don't know anymore, though. We're not out of danger, Cole. Daddy and Julia need to know right now. I'm not sure the bodyguard is there yet. How I was able to relay all that to him, I wasn't sure, but I was scared shitless that if Ibrahim got to me, Daddy and Julia might be next. Whoever was after Cole was using the people he loved to break him. Somehow, I had to be stronger than his enemy.
Taco!
Cole yelled. I jumped and scrambled backward, stumbling over a rock that jutted up from the ground. Cole grabbed my arm and stabilized me before I landed on my ass.
Shit, Shay. I didn't mean to scare you. Are you all right?
He waved at Taco with his free hand. I squeezed his fingers. It's okay. I know you didn't.
Yeah, Cole.
Taco eyed me, then ground his molars together, anger evident in his gaze.
Tell King to call my mom, and make sure the bodyguard is there. Whoever is fucking with me is going after my family.
Taco patted Cole on the back.
Anything you need, man. I need someone to get us out of here, too. Shay needs me close, and I can't help her while I'm driving. I got you. Let me talk to King first. We'll need to hide my bike somewhere safe, then I'll get it later.
Cole nodded, then focused on me again.
Samuel and Mom will be all right, Shay.
The next several minutes were a flurry of activity as the men took care of business. Once Taco joined us, Cole loaded me back into the truck, but this time I sat between both men. Cole held my hand even though I was covered in death. All I could think about was a hot shower. I would be able to scrub the filth off my skin, but I wasn't sure I would ever feel clean again. Rape wasn't the kind of dirty that washed down the drain. It was the kind that buried its claws into my fractured soul. A few hours later, Cole helped me to the master bathroom of his house. The bikers were on high alert and pissed as hell that Ibrahim had kidnapped me. Some of them offered to keep an eye on the situation and had remained outside keeping watch. King had talked to Julia and updated her and Daddy. I knew I would have to speak to them soon, but I had to clean up first. I watched as Cole turned on the shower, his blue eyes weary as he looked at me.
Shay?
He tipped my chin up, bringing my attention to him.
I need to know what happened.
I jerked away from his touch. It doesn't matter anymore. You killed him. He placed a gentle hand on my shoulder.
It does matter. Tell me.
I barked out a laugh. You need to know? Tugging on my blood-splattered t-shirt, I pulled it over my head and tossed it in the trash. My bra and shorts were next. I wasn't sure what had happened to my G-string, but I wasn't wearing it anymore. It wouldn't have made a difference. Ibrahim's cum would have ruined my underwear. I stood in front of Cole, naked. What do you see? My voice hitched and my throat grew tight. Deep inside myself, I realized that Cole wouldn't see me the same as before Ibrahim had assaulted me.
The beautiful woman that I would do anything for.
He whispered, keeping eye contact. I'm going to give you an opportunity to retract your statement, Cole. I tore my gaze away, tears streaming down my cheeks. He raped me. I dared a glance at him, expecting to see pity on his face. He fucked my pussy, then my ass, then... I choked on the brutality of my words. He fucked me with the barrel of the gun while he had his finger on the trigger, Cole. My shoulders shook from my sobs, but I refused to turn away. I braced myself for his cruel words. Cole had never held his tongue, so why would he now? But also, I had to know once and for all. I needed Cole to tell me that he wasn't interested in my weak, abused, and discarded shell because I was no longer the girl he used to know. I wasn't sure his rejection could make my bruised and broken heart any worse. But once he confirmed what I suspected, I could at least walk away from him for good after today. Cole's fist shot forward, busting a hole in the wall. It's a good thing I killed that fucker, or I'd go after him right now. He scrubbed his face with his palms, then he placed his hands on his hips and looked at the floor. When he looked at me again, tears welled in his eyes,